Before we start, here's a quick guide from Lord Garbelius. Please drop down in the description, give him your support, jump on his Patreon, check him out. Really good stuff. Thank you, Lord Garbelius. What's up, everybody? Soul here with another sort of Convallaria video, and today we will be going over our boy Faycal, giving you a guide on how to use him, how you can benefit your gameplay, and maybe who you'd want to pair him with, and how you'd want to build him with items and as well as with abilities. So let's get right into his trait and we can talk about what we think of it. So Faycal's Obsession is the name of his trait. Increases Faycal's attack and defense by 10%. When he deals damage, there is a 100% chance to inflict one random level 2 debuff for 2 turns. Of course, that level 2 debuff can be any one of these 8 traits that is afflicted. Pretty nice, good stuff. So then, let's take a look at it. Now, of course, when you get Faycal rolling, he's going to be at this 1 star, and that's going to be attack defense at 5%. And then whenever he deals damage, 7% chance to inflict that 1%. However, at 3 stars, it becomes a 100% chance to inflict that random level 2 debuff for 2 turns. Really, really important there to get him to 3 stars, in my opinion, if you like him. However, if you love him, I would absolutely suggest taking him all the way to 5 stars. Because at 5 stars, I think that's where he really starts to go bonkers. Obviously, everybody benefits from a 5-star trait, he more so than some. And that is because the effect of this is improved too. Increases Faycal's attack and defense by 15%, so that's a big bump. When he deals damage, there's a 100% chance to inflict a 1 random level 2 debuff to the target for 2 turns. That's fantastic. But this last part right here, before an attack, increases his crit by 10% for each debuff the target has. That's really, really big. That's a big deal. You can easily get some pretty crazy crit chances and crit rates going on him once you get him up there. And so let's take a look at his ranks. Here we go, down here at rank 1. On the right you have rock climbing. It's a support instant and gains move up 1, climb and jump for 2 turns. I do not suggest picking this up. I suggest picking it up on the right. Dorana right here, and this is a passive. And at the start of the turn, if there are no enemies within 2 tiles of the character, it gains crit 2 for 1 turn. That's a 30% boost to the crit rate. Up here at rank 3, you have 2 choices. You have precise shot on the left. Single target attack deals 130% damage before attacking, inflicts no dodge on the target, lasting for 1 turn. This is a solid damaged ability. It costs no energy and has a 3-turn cooldown. Nothing wrong with it. I would suggest you getting what's on the right, and that is Arrow of Guardian Convallaria. And so this is physical damage, performs alert within a 3x4 area in the target direction. It deals 120% damage and interrupts actions once an enemy enters the area. So that's really big. It's only going to hit 1 enemy, but it's going to absolutely stop their turn. Period. Dot. It costs 1 energy and has a 4-turn cooldown. It's pretty decent. It's a long cooldown in my opinion, but it's still not the worst. And so yeah, it does a really good thing right there and just stopping them flat. I really wish it had a lower cooldown, but you roll Coco, you kind of get used to some low cooldowns and so on and so forth. Up here at rank 5, you got Fling Hair. This is a reaction. When hit by an active attack, the damage taken is decreased by 8%. After being attacked, the character gains move 2 for 2 turns. Of course, that increases move by 2 tiles. I do not suggest picking this one up. I would suggest on the left, Eye for an Eye. This is a reaction when Faycal is being attacked from the front or side by an enemy who are not on adjacent tiles. He initiates a strike back, dealing 100% damage. Of course, the strike back is when you hit someone back, and it's basically a counter attack. It's really, really good, and of course that does proc his debuffs too as well. Up here at rank 7, on the left, you've got Cloud Piercing Arrow. Now, I do not suggest you pick this up. I did. I got this when my account was young. I didn't have a lot of characters. I wanted to check them out, and then I ended up using a Castalion, not realizing how rare they were. Regardless, I digress. Physical damage, single target attack, deals 140% damage with a curve shot, meaning it's basically going to go around obstacles and trajectories in order to hit its target. This is his biggest hitting ability. 140% damage is only decent, in my opinion. You have bigger hits out there on other characters that are at 170 and such, and so this is only decent. On the right, you have Alert Shot. This is what I'd suggest you pick up. It's physical damage, performs alert on a 3x3 area in the target direction, and deals 100% damage once the enemy enters this area. It can be activated up to 2 times per round. Pretty good stuff. It's pretty decent. Costs 2 energy. You can just perpetually keep this up if you can afford it and keep his energy up. And so this is definitely a decent choice right here. At rank 9, you have Fatal Attack on the right. Fires a curve shot, deals 85% physical damage, and increases crit damage by 15%. I do not suggest getting this personally. I would suggest getting on the left, Rapid Fire, basic attack, single target attack. Performs 2 consecutive attacks, each dealing 55% physical damage. So you're applying 2 different debuffs with his trait alone, and it's really, really good. And yeah, I love this. This is what I'd prefer to get, and this is what I'd suggest you to get. Now up here at rank 11, this is the only place I might suggest you to pick up a Castalia. On the right, you have Heart of Alert. It's a passive. When it's not the character's turn, you increase the crit by 45%, additionally, and crit damage by 30%. That's pretty good. So when it's not his turn, he's doing extra critical damage, and then he's also critting them harder. And that's a really big deal. There's some pretty good, generous, nice numbers right there, 45% and then 30% damage. I would suggest getting this if you're building him for an alert build. If you're not building him for an alert build, I would suggest getting Gale Billow Volley. This is physical damage. Faycal deals 5 instances of 60% AoE damage to random enemies within 2 tiles. Damage he deals to the same target repeatedly will decrease by 50%. So this right here, it does some decent damage from time to time. I don't think it's terrible. You are losing 50% when it hits the same target repeatedly, but to apply debuffs or whatever, I think this is phenomenal. We're going to talk about his weapons and builds later, but I think this is the way to go. I love using this. It's great for hitting multiple enemies and getting some debuffs out and getting some great AoE control. And it does still do decent damage, even though it drops half of that damage regardless. Still pretty good. I like this ability a lot. 4 energy costs, no cooldown, pretty decent stuff. With that said, let's take a look at his inherent ability that he gets off the hop, and that is foot sniping. It is physical damage, single target attack. It deals 110% damage and inflicts move down 2 for 2 turns. This is really, really good. Inflicting that move down helps you zone and control those enemies and keep them from getting to your units or to Faycal in general. And it does pretty decent damage at 110, no cooldown, 2 energy costs, pretty decent stuff. So, with that all said, let's take a look at how we would build them. First way I'd suggest building them is debuff build. This is my favorite way to play Faycal, and so I play him as a debuffer. I use an Irian Team Comp, and I put Dantalion out there with his aura, which gives 20% bonus damage based on having 3 or more debuffs on the opponent, and he helps ensure that we keep that up, and he does some pretty great damage because of that. And so when I'm running that, this is how I build them. Meteor Line is my choice of weapon. I love that increased flat physical attack, and then of course it also is giving a level 1 debuff, 2 of them, mind you, at 5 stars for 2 turns. This is absolutely phenomenal, and this is what I would almost always put in his hands, with the exception of the alert build. Anytime I run around with Faycal and he's not a part of an alert build or alert team, and this is my preferred weapon of choice because of his synergy with it, and I just love what it does in general. So yeah, for Trinket, I run Roaring Flint, and so that's because his trait allows him to inflict those debuffs anytime he's dealing damage, and so this does absolutely proc that. This is a nice big AoE. This is a really rare ring, I will confess. However, if you have it and you throw this out there and you hit those enemies, they're all debuffed right there in that one instance of damage from that one AoE. Really, really good, decent ability and ring on Faycal in my opinion. For the Resonance, when I'm running this build, is Sword and Wand. I love him to get out there. He's working around the crowd and behind your line of characters, and so each time he moves, whether it's shift left, right, up and down, regardless, he's getting 4% bonus to each tile he traverses up to 12. So this really helps him get more damage out, and this is what I'd prefer to put on for Resonance for that reason. And then of course for the Terror Whisper, I love Course of Fortune. This Terror Whisper is very, very, very powerful in that it gives you those Wheel of Fortune buffs, which of course can be AoE piercing damage, HP recovery, which is never something to not want, attack defense attribute increases, and then that, but my favorite part, energy recovery at random. And if you have this hidden effect unlocked, you can get two buffs in a turn. It's really, really nice. Now in this debuff build, I would suggest taking the following abilities. Of course, you have your basic attack, rapid fire, and then you have your reaction, eye for an eye. I would suggest taking Gale Bill Volley, foot sniping, and then that arrow Guardian Convallaria, just because that fantastic range and low energy cost. It's really, really good to throw in there. So let's talk about how to build him as an alert unit. Alright, so as an alert unit, Faycal, I would prefer to run that Irian bow right here, the Irian combat bow, that increases your physical attack by 5%, and then when it's not his turn, he's dealing an additional 20% more damage when not in the character's turn. It's really, really good. So anytime he's hitting somebody with either a strike back or whatever it is that's not an active attack, it's not his turn, he's dealing 20% more damage, period, dot, end of discussion. Now, that Hunter's Intuition, when alert is triggered, deals 5% more damage. That's base value, mind you, 1 star. Moreover, if a foe uses a skill within the range of the alert, it will also be triggered. So now you have an extra condition for triggering that alert. It's really, really good. So when they step into Faycal's alert zone, they're going to get hit. And then when they try to use an ability, they're going to get hit again. Really, really good stuff there. Now, as far as resonance, when I'm running alert, I prefer the sword and the pinnacle. I like it when unharmed. It increases attack and defense by 12%. Now when I find I'm running alert, I don't move Faycal a whole lot. A lot of times I've kind of picked my spot. I'm camping out and I'm letting them just come to me. And I'll show you that here in a minute, actually in a battle. But regardless, that's what I prefer to run on Faycal during an alert setup. And then for that resonance, of course, you get destruction of the tower. When it's not the character's turn, damage dealt is increased by 20%. If you have that hidden effect, you get 40% lifesteal when dealing damage, which is pretty decent. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think it's a requirement. If you find a tower that has like multiple physical attack percentages up, it doesn't have the hidden effect, go with it. Don't worry about that lifesteal. That lifesteal is nice, but it's not an absolute must-have. If you just get a really nice, rare tarot whisper with the tower, I'd suggest using that over that hidden effect. Now in this alert build, I would suggest picking up Heart of Alert is your ability, followed by Alert Shot and Arrow of the Guardian Convallaria in this alert build. Really, really good abilities centered around alert skill. His alert skills right there. Now let's take a look at Faycal with his alert build in action. Now here we're using the team Sword of Convallaria. We're benefiting from Rolia's aura, giving us nice damage buff, as well as some damage reduction and so on. We're going to bring Momo along for the additional alert skill setup. Coco is not a Sword of Convallaria unit, but she is a must grab because of her fantastic effect of happiness. Can't sleep on that. Regardless, let's take a look at what this team can do. We're expecting the enemy to rush us and come to us. Now, I brought Barrel for a little bit of AoE and crowd control. Doesn't necessarily pop off. We have to use Ragnarok to do some damage to these units to force them to start coming to us. Otherwise, they'll just spend a couple turns down there waiting. As you can see, they're coming. Maytha is going to help cover and protect and heal. And she's got some great knockback to keep the enemy zone back, triggering those alerts when they come back to us again. And here we go, setting up our alerts. Now, where Barrel does come in really handy is her ability to give back energy. I'm utilizing that big time. She's going to definitely work in and around those alert units and keep them energized and able to keep their alerts up. I love units with multiple uses and lots of utility. I love diversity in the game. Great damage there off Faycal. One shot in that enemy. Right, gets pulled out of position. We don't mind that. Faycal as well. It's okay. You push him back. There's her ability. Our bridge is on fire. We teleport Faycal back and set up the next alert. Get some good healings going. We're just gonna hold our position. We don't mind the scorch. Momo with that great slam. Hallucinogenic shroom, put him to sleep. He's just gonna start walking back. Let our alert units do their job. Get her back in position. Strike back there from her. Good decent damage. Reposition Momo. Giving that energy back from Barrel. Here come the bosses. Set up that alert. Prepare for those wolves. So we're really close to us on the left. Step in. Get another heal from Aetha. I love that iron pots too. I want those happiness procs all day, every day. Good damage. Good damage. Faycal one-shots 2 different opponents. Momo does the same over here. Doesn't one-shot, but does do decent damage. Wolf comes in, takes a knock there. Comes in for another one. Boom. Get us some cover. Momo pushes him back. And we're waiting for Momo's. We're waiting for Momo's alert to come back up. Faycal sets up his alert looking the other way. One shots that unit. Really hoping one day we have like a wave survival mode where they just keep coming and coming and coming. Give our tanks and alert units a lot more utility in the game. I think they're fantastic. Really good hit there from Faycal as well. But when it comes to in-game, they don't have a lot of purpose. There's not a lot that they're able to be utilized for. And I would like to see that changed. When we set these tiles on fire, it helps us zone and control. They're not able to get right to us. Faycal sets up next alert. We don't care about scorch. We're not really taking damage otherwise. Another heal from Aetha. And heal / Iron Pot Suit from Doko. Keeping us topped off. He walks into the hurt. No crit, still hits for like 7,000. Good damage. Teleport over. Just go ahead and start wrapping this fight up. Good damage from Romeo. Set up alert on Momo again. Fantastic. And there you have it. So yeah, that's Faycal. Really, really good stuff. There's a couple ways you can play him. My favorite is probably the Irian Team Comp, where he just does the debuffs and the amount of debuffs and the damage. He uses Fight and oh my goodness, it's just sickening. It's sickening. Units just get shredded. But regardless, alert's a lot of fun too. As I said, I'd like to see some different game modes where we have more utility for that alert system in our defenders and so on and so forth. Regardless, clearing content and getting through the game, especially if you're just starting. Faycal is a phenomenal unit. Don't sleep on them. Don't disregard those units that you get easily. They still have a lot of utility and purpose. This is a tactics game. Every unit has a purpose and a place, a role. And I know a lot of people talk about meta and how things just die and disappear and they're not good anymore. Nah, these units can still do a great job. Power creep isn't so real as that these units just suddenly fall off and they're never be used or looked at again. If you like Faycal and you want to build him and you want to play around him, then do it. You can do it. There is a way to do it. You might have to work a little bit harder if you're trying to use Faycal as your main damage dealer instead of, say, August, Tristan, so on and so forth. Definitely you're gonna have to work harder to do it, but it's still possible. So yeah, I digress. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, huge shout out to my Patreon members, making all of this possible and allowing me to consistently make more content and to pool on all the new characters as they come out. If you're interested, please drop down and look in the description. You'll see that Patreon link there. If you want to join us and help contribute, you are much appreciated. There's also a link to my Discord down below as well. We'd be glad to have you with us as we discuss all different aspects of the game, strategies, tactics, and so on and so forth. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take it easy. I'll catch you next time. Bye.